30 seconds. I've already pressed play on everything. We got 24 video feeds, I should say, rather. And yeah, we're gonna start the show here pretty quick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, welcome to the show. This is the third video jam of the day. The first two went pretty smoothly. The first one was a little rough. We had to get everything troubleshot and working. Had a few bad cables. That can happen. Had to replace those cables. But it seems like it's working now. Even though I know the glare from the sun on the TVs is not great. The only good show will probably be later on at 8 when the sun has gone down. It's shining right on the TVs. I'm basically doing this blind. But anyways, I'm going to stop yapping. We're going to get to the next video jam. This is video jam 76, I believe. Yes. All right. Okay, let's get to it.
To work for him or starve. The preliminaries were over. It was time for the main event, the Battle of Britain.
Oh, Dad thinks he's pretty good, eh? Hey, how about those underwear he was wearing?
On the banks of the River Thames, in the shadow of Tower Bridge. It's a tale of great
and a beard was grown. Martin Luther became Junker George.
Most enduring cultures of all time. Yet its people wanted more.
I made them up. But the rest of the story is quite true. And here's the proof. This is the Castle Conway, built some 700 years ago.
It's mine! Give it back! Let go! Let go!
How awful. I slept through half the morning. Thank you so much for waking me up.
Good morning, Cinderella. Lovely day, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but how could I have overslept today of all days?
My goodness, if they're going to keep you working late into the night, they can't expect you up at the crack of dawn.
Once those silly stepsisters of yours have gone to the ball, you'll be able to take a rest.
I am looking forward to relaxing a bit.
Uh-huh.
Already planning your lunch break?
Oh, good morning, stepmother.
Good afternoon's more like it. Really, you are the laziest girl.
But
Okay, well, we'll shut it off for now. Bye, guys.
Okay, see you guys tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Oh, no.
As the story of my castle unfolds, we'll be visiting some of the real castles it's based on and finding out something and around them.
Bozo, Uncle Peter?
No, Auntie Lisa.
The river from Luxor, and the temple built to preserve his memory. Ramses' fallen statue lies broken, his features worn away.
I don't understand how those people in the palace invite her two sisters and not invite Cinderella.
Me neither.
They must be out
Kept
of...
alive forever,
now you mustn't talk like that.
stands empty.
Thing that's ever happened to them. They've been getting...
And I think this is a very important aspect of it. That, in turn, had an impact on the life of society. It changed the whole outlook of society. And it's the old story that if you change the person, you change the world.
Gwendolyn. If she went to the palace wearing that, she'd be the belle of the ball.
To resist her.
Stop it, you two. I'm not going to the palace, and that's that. And please remove...
Friars.
But first, he must be rid of the queen that he already has.
Save the one priceless item, men.
What is...
In all of Britain, there was not enough equipment for one modern division.
Dayland, so they got a real close family here. Close-knit family, right, bro?
Met there with Master James of Barrington, the famous engineer who was already at work on other castles for the king in Wales and Scotland.
Of the trio, Dick, a serious lad of 18 summers, plus a winter in Florida, has...
expected to live, and those were imposed on them by their founders. However, even within the founders' lifetimes, the orders tended to have
dainty Dora standpipe.
And machines.
Surveying the entire area, my lord, I've decided that the outcrop of rock extending into the water provides the best natural defense.
Pointed hour.
I'm sure a military strategist with skill. And of course, the river provides should one ever prove it.
And not much time to do it in.
Crop over there, we will lay out the town.
And soon on their rollicking way, forced to pass a certain public house. Right?
Recognized symbol of the glory that was ancient Egypt. Built as tombs, later gutted, robbed and battered by the centuries, they endure.
To the needs of Atlantic sailors and their cargoes.
Perfect square. And still today, the mysteries abound. Where did the technology come from?
Women in the kingdom may come to the ball.
I'm certain the invitation wasn't meant to include every homely little dirty-faced washerwoman who...
3 years after her marriage, Anne is arrested.
Carry the dispatches. Drive the ambulances and run the buses. And we'll see that our men are fed and don't go hungry.
Feet on each of its sides, and will be defended by towers and gatehouses. If by any chance, an extremely unlikely one, attackers succeed in penetrating this area, they will be thwarted by the inner curtain wall. Both
On the scaffold, the executioner begs Anne's pardon, telling the queen he's been ordered to do his duty.
Its architect, Imhotep, was proclaimed a god. Originally designing a simple low-slung tomb called a mastaba, Imhotep wasn't satisfied. He added one layer, then another.
The fights, they promised everything. Within 10 years of Wycliffe's death, they petitioned Parliament for a reformation in religion, believing that the country was ready to cast off.
Into thy hands, O Lord.
Reformation must grow in the hearts of the people. It must be planted by...
To maintain the pace of construction His Majesty demands, I simply must have more workers.
And so you shall, Master James.
Lord Kevin sent constables to several English cities to find the multitude of workers Master James required.
We shall fight on beaches, landing grounds, in fields, in streets, and on the hills. We shall never...
1270, 1275, 1280, 1285, 1290, 1300,
But
1305,
represent spoken
1300, 1315, 20,
for the terror they knew was coming.
Work in Aberwyvern struck me as a fine opportunity.
1490, 1500. Here I come, ready or not. Help!
Anne Boleyn never leaves the Tower of London.
Convicted by them, he was
To this day,
burned
her
at the
body
stake
remains entombed in a
as
small chapel near the place of her execution. A memorial to love gone tragically wrong.
of his trial. The point was put to him about the Mass and about venerating the figure of the cross.
The great stone walls could not protect the kings from the greed in the hearts of men. The intruders might be simple robbers, members of the king's own priesthood, or even the very builders of the tomb itself.
It's perfectly splendid. It's a dream come true. I've never worn anything so wonderful in my whole life. Oh, please, let us see what it looks like when you dance. Dear me, I can't...
You understand, the windows near the bottom of the walls and towers.
Telegram for the Dover boys. Mrs. Tom, Dick, and Larry, Caraway with Tavern Upper Bottleneck, New York. Sirs, quote.
In your living quarters, your gracious Lady Catherine will be pleased to note that each window will be fitted with glass. Of course, the tops of the walls will be crenulated with embrasures and merlons. Without exposing yourself to the... Help, Nick! Adds up to the greatest castle I or any other Englishman has ever built.
Have to be to remain in Egypt that long.
Knowledge of the Bible. And in fact, when he was being cross-examined, the authorities realized that the people who were listening were being greatly affected by what he was saying. It was as if he was preaching a sermon, and they were being held with rapt attentiveness to this great sermon. So, the church authorities...
Excuse me for bothering Your Highness.
After
RAF hadn't read the Nazi plan.
And nobody seems to mind. And indeed, it seems a small price to pay for living on islands of such idyllic beauty and charm. For those who like beaches, there's simply no better place to be.
182 German planes out of the sky.
Is castle building at its most sophisticated?
Before Edward I's time, castles, cathedrals, and other mammoth construction projects had taken generations to build, with long delays when the money ran out. Edward changed all this with his castles. He placed the financial resources of the entire kingdom behind them. He set up a bureaucracy to handle those finances, as well as planning and recruitment. He also expected his...
Yep, they are. They stay on that couch all the time.
Here's the lively party.
Yeah. There's Dad dancing around.
Big party.
Jenny, take cover.
I drove on those trucks today. I could run it over.
Yeah, in his...
Jeepers creepers, jumping G. Time for spring, time for spring. Go darn sleepyhead, you be. Time for spring, I say. No more time to lay in stones.
For example, here at Beaumaris on the island of Anglesey is one tremendous improvement over earlier castle designs.
Loaded with the protection of the RAF overhead.
They begin their research with the rocks themselves.
Society indicate that this force was larger than ourselves, and gargoyles provided a way of indicating that that force was bigger than we were.
Gargoyles were also a source of popular entertainment. In an age without movies or books, stone carvers were the Steven Spielbergs and Stephen Kings of their day.
He made some very gutsy business decisions in the 1960s and parlayed those into a very successful surplus and importing business.
As a paleoecologist, Dr. Schubert studies the history of these habitats and how a community of plants becomes established.
Algae are the first substrate, organic substrate, that forms in the little puddles on top of the rock. As soon as this substrate forms, then lichens and other plants come in and they begin to grow there and begin to add to this substrate until eventually larger plants can come in and grow in this place and actually form a community.
You have to talk about what role the artist plays in terms of how much freedom did the artist have in what he placed where in the cathedral. You have to think about...
We can't leave without a trip into the island's vibrant interior, an untouched primary tropical forest.
People looking at these works. Other scholars have believed...
But in private, he sent for Goering, the boss of the Luftwaffe, and put him on the hot seat.
Wales.
There are 3 rooms in every tower. The lowest one, the basement level, is for storage. In the unlikely event the walls are breached during a siege, each tower...
The Arizona sinks in just 9 minutes, with over 1,000 men trapped inside.
Ancient faith alive. They still prayed to the goddess Isis, mother of Horus, the falcon god, and still practiced the rituals that promised immortality. Only in the temple of Philae were the mysteries of the ancient gods still respected.
Where'd she go? What a surprise, Your Highness. Welcome to my humble home. Your wish is my command.
I'm looking for a young lady who came galloping through your front gate. Have you any idea where she is?
Why, as if...
Such a noble... Where might I find them?
Here, Your Majesty. Now, which one of them have you...
Hear that song? Whoa,
The Dover area became known as Hell's Corner. By sheer weight of numbers, the enemy again and again broke through the coastal defenses.
Since the gatehouses are most vulnerable, I had to design them with great care. First, a heavy timber portcullis can be lowered to block the entrance. And beyond that, soldiers above can attack any intruders in the passageway. Defenses begin with the drawbridge. The inner end is weighted, and when supports underneath are removed...
Now, who's been spreading these ridiculous rumors that I'm about to get married?
I heard it from your father.
Well, I might have known. Oh, isn't he ever going to give up?
I don't know why.
In 1900, Saint-Pierre was the jewel of the French West Indies, a bustling, fashionable seaport of more than 30,000 people. In 1902, Montpellier began to smoke, but its intermittent activity was no more than a nuisance. By May, it had begun to erupt, but the people of Saint-Pierre reasoned that they would be safe.
900 of the dead are still inside the hull of what is now one of America's most revered shrines.
A year into the French occupation, demolishing a wall made a remarkable discovery.
Was the right one to start her burnings with, and so he was burned here at Smithfield in that February day in 1555. And then, of course, there were others who...
For meeting a young lady as lovely and delightful as you, Cinderella. I could dance with you forever. I want to know everything about you. How strange. We've just met and I feel like I've known you all my life. Cinderella? Cinderella?
Huh?
Fertility, the growth rate of the plants, everything.
But not all gargoyles are evil. The griffin usually combines two noble animals, a lion's body with the head and wings of an eagle.
No one would label a hazardous product like this, except the tobacco industry.
And then he took off his sock, and then he took a pen out of his pocket, and he started picking something out of his clothes. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm just picking something out of my clothes. I'll be with you in a minute."
This is the history of Princess
Tiger was,
Autumn.
you know, one of those guys who kind of, you know, marched to the beat of his own drummer.
A sophisticated twist on a sports event.
Fury of gargoyles and grotesques.
Pull up a stool for a cup of good cheer.
Significance. For example, the frog is often a symbol for lewdness.
And try and hide themselves in the water.
Gorzula has discovered more than 25 new vertebrate species, including this little frog, named Stephania in his honor.
That concept in our advertising, but we did take we had a huge amount of fun that.
Of the other, and each one served a different function.
Another famous romance was that of Captain John Smith and Pocahontas.
John Smith, do not hurt.
One of the few well-preserved halls in all of Britain. The Great Hall at Aberwyvern would have looked something like this.
Southampton, England, April 10th. It begins with a joyous celebration.
Anxious about his own.
The Titanic leaves for New York on its maiden voyage.
Greek was very, very difficult for him to deal with.
Sacrifice the good of the kingdom. What are we waiting for? Girls, get in here.
What beauties?
I'll have them ready in a moment and we'll be on our way. I know you're in a hurry.
Which one of your daughters is it that's coming along with us?
Whatever do you mean, which one?
My dear lady.
And he took up the Greek New Testament and began to read, and he read Paul's letter to Timothy. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners.
A complete zoological record on the rugged surface of the Tepui entails exploring all its hiding places.
In fact, satire is an important element in the gargoyle's migration.
The Coca-Cola card. Well, tell her what you'll get away with.
Each of those 4 stores were logical locations in Western Canada and did well from the get-go. We also opened up a store in Kelowna, which was a little different. It was actually set up as a franchise store. It was our one and only franchise store.
Hit the snooze bar. You hit the shower. You start soap.
When he finds a specimen, the light blinds it.
Sunday, April 14th, the 4th day at sea. The temperature drops 10 degrees in 1 hour. It is an...
His ancestors had been in the Americas for many thousands of years. But to Europeans, it was just that, the New World. And once Europe knew about the Americas, the course of history was changed forever.
Craftsman's or shopkeeper's house in Aberwyvern would have looked like. This is a timber frame structure, and the spaces between the uprights.
Let's all get friendly and sing that well-known favorite, Yankee Doodle Boy. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dad.
Thanks for what? Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes if you want.
Now how?
Cooking, and assured the constant danger of fire.
These houses, like the castle,
ripping sound.
A man who eventually became responsible for translating the scriptures into English and ensuring that the Bible in English came to the people of his land. Tyndale grew up in Gloucestershire. His parents, his family background was actually quite middle class, we would say. They were involved in merchant work, probably in the wool trade. So
Court jesters were always popular as grotesques. Perhaps that explains Mr. Quick's latest project, a grotesque of Bob Hope. Even former American presidents can't escape caricature. Oxford's most demonic grotesques are more like Halloween masks than malevolent spirits.
And lakes, vast and solitary, of this ancient land.
All right, we are hitting the intermission halfway point of the video jam. We call this a video jam, in case you're wondering. I'm playing back 24 real-time video feeds. We have 12 VCRs, 6 cameras, 4 laptops, a couple feedback loops, a lot of moving parts, but it's all analog. I am the analog hermit. I usually have this set up in my cabin, and I go live once a week or however often I can. This is the 76th video jam, and yeah, I'm just gonna continue the show here. Stop yakking. The sun's starting to go down a little bit, but I can't see the program at all. I'm basically doing this blind. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue the show.
Alarmed.
To grow, King Edward will grant us a charter, so we can hold a yearly fair like the one at Even Italians from across the sea.
Yeah, you missed me.
Drifts on, leaving behind the haunting evidence of its passing.
Well, you see, I was wondering if you might tell me where it is, Your Majesty.
No idea. How would I know where it is?
A chance discovery in 1947 would rivet the world's attention to archaeology.
Only the priests in their Latin and so on could read the Bible to the people. The people themselves, the ploughboys and the girls and the men and women of that day, they either couldn't read or the Bible wasn't available to them.
Still very much alive. Today there are more than 7 million Mayans, and it's their culture melded with that of centuries of foreign immigrants that gives Guatemala its characteristic flavor.
Atlantic.
That talk. Coke one, not Pepsi.
Elegant Lady Catherine would be impressed. Was another matter entirely.
City slicker, just a man who holds his liquor. She'll be looking for her when she's gone.
In the providence of God for this great work to which he was called. So he
Known throughout the world as the Dead Sea Scrolls. In surrounding
That it? I know you mean well, but if you find it, the only reward you'll receive is the king's displeasure.
Is Her Majesty trying to tell me something?
Listen, Ignaz. Neither of those 2 young women you're keeping downstairs is the young woman my son is searching for.
Good heavens, how did you know about that?
Dress up for a wedding when she comes. She'll be dressed up for a wedding when she comes. She won't wear no shoes by hokey as she comes around.
Family and
She'll be dressed up for a wedding when she comes.
Master James and my lord spent 6 years making the castle the strongest in the land. I've set myself to work making it as elegant and comfortable as a castle can possibly be.
Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all bound to a central belief in an omnipotent God. And all are tied to a baffling puzzle, one that has endured for thousands of years and remains unsolved to this day. The wondrous mystery of the lost Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant is the sacred repository of the 10 Commandments, said to have been handed down to Moses by God himself. But where is the Ark of the Covenant today? Is it here in Jerusalem, as many believe, buried beneath the stones of a sacred temple? Or has it vanished, destroyed perhaps by marauders who lay waste to Jerusalem no less than 32 times.
His message. King Edward was coming for a visit in just a few days.
Look at that. It is. Danny and Dustin, that's only a little drop. Yak. Yak.
Look up here. Hey, get a leg up.
There we go. There we go.
Who does your laundry, Pete?
Here, Julian. Chocolate. Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you say please? Say, Julian, look. Say, look, Julian. Say hi.
Okay, eat your chocolate. So not yet. You got a little bit soft yet. He's got to soak into the hands.
So I can smear it on his face.
I didn't notice he'll be around, eh?
In turn, will move to the steward's quarters. He to the chamberlains, the chamberlain to the marshals, the marshal to the butlers, and so on. The townspeople, meanwhile, are particularly excited about the royal arrival.
The high priests of Israel are allowed to carry this precious object. The ark takes on awesome and frightening powers. Joshua makes the ark a righteous weapon against his enemy, the Canaanites. He parades it with blaring trumpets around the walls of Jericho for 6 days. On the 7th day, the walls come tumbling down. When the dreaded Philistines descend upon the Israelites and steal the ark, they are afflicted by a plague.
For an assault on all the English strongholds in Wales. His Majesty and I discuss strategy.
Kev.
Good camera, Julian.
Out into the open sea. It's a different ocean.
Opponent wasn't so much the object as cornering him and leaving.
Arriving in Hamburg, Tyndall unpacked the precious manuscripts begun in England and set to the work of translation with renewed vigor.
This was a
He had been joined by William Roy, a former.
Yet over 3 generations of captivity, Jewish scribes unified the oral
appearing all over the planet.
Every possible advantage. And that began with the high ground on which they built. If there happened to be water or mountains too, so much the better.
Even today, it looks impregnable.
And during the rebellion of 1294,
and it's got to be hit hard. In the midst of this life and death struggle, the British found strength not only to defend, but to counterattack with what few bombers they could get together.
Impossible, which is why it was only natural that they lived happily ever after.
Pictures, of course.
and ceremonial walkways. It was a magnificent city. It was here, too, the Bible tells us, that one of antiquity's most extraordinary monuments soared into the sky, the Tower of Babel. Babylon's great monuments made a strong impression on the biblical scribes. But her most enduring legacy, surviving to this day, is a Babylonian innovation far more impressive still: the rule of law.
Doctrines that had become so prominent in the church. Well, Tunstall tried various ways of demonstrating that Tyndale's translation was not accurate or good. He also then did
snow, rice paddies, in trees even, and in fields of flowers left blooming.
There should be joy in this phenomenon, and in fact there is a lot of joy, because you can't see anything quite so beautiful as going in the countryside and seeing these absolutely marvellous things shining out at you.
Right up to the... Tyndale was continually on the run from those who detested what he had set his hand to and who were determined to stamp it out.
For example, at one stage he lost much of his manuscript, had to start again. It was very painstaking. Because he could never tie Tyndale down as to where he was. He referred to him as the heretic of England, who is nowhere, who is everywhere.
A power that, when unleashed in 79 AD, destroyed an entire city.
Almost like a mandala, which is a shape which is used in a lot of ancient religions and philosophies. It actually affects the subconscious part of the mind, and you almost are left with a feeling, I know that symbol, I know that shape, you can't quite put your finger on what it is.
To commerce. Sticking to the principle that made him rich in the first place, Woolworth paid for the construction in cash.
Everybody
Was on a
everybody.
counting his coins. And here, the building's architect, Cass Gilbert, cradles his creation. And because everyone deserves some credit, the rental agent can be seen closing a deal.
Quiet settlements, their life centered around fishing, logging, and the sea. But beneath this conventional exterior lies a more complex reality.
I was always planning to buy one for myself for my garage, and you know what? He said I bought one then too. And then a few minutes later, or a few days later, the one that had originally been damaged wasn't unworkable. Another customer walked in, didn't have enough money to buy a new one. He bought that one, so we actually sold.
As mining drains vast amounts of water from the rivers, the banks are left high and dry.
29th, 51st floors, many times higher than the tallest cathedrals in Europe.
Fish 3 feet long.
Could it be that even Frank Woolworth realized that
Has to be an answer. By now, most researchers, known as crappies, have a pretty good handle on the phenomena and are keeping track on a year-to-year basis.
My whole philosophy about crop circles really had to do with keeping an open mind, looking at things from different points of view.
Oh, real little porker, isn't he?
and religious life. It supplied everything from boats, houses, cooking pots and clothes to totem poles and ritual scrolls. Now the Hi8 put its special qualities to use in new goods for the modern market.
Behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth.
A column of debris rises 12 miles into the sky.
God does destroy Nineveh, throne of the great Assyrian kings. And it wasn't the first such annihilation. Long before the Almighty.
When you have circles connected with circles and lines, you got communication between heaven and earth. Through that development, we started getting pictograms. We start seeing symbols which now have a meaning attached to them, symbolic meaning. So we're able to see what those mean, go back and reference our ancient past. Relationships there, clues, telling us that these people, these beings, know.
In a matter of minutes.
It is a primal tale stirring our deepest hopes and fears. A story found in the Bible, but also in another ancient text, a text discovered in the ruins of Sumer. Early this century, a group of Mesopotamian
knowledge of the planetary motions of the stars and the heavenly bodies. Moment where we are at, or at least last season, we're getting symbols which are starting to stretch our imagination in what we can see and how we perceive the world. We have symbols which are four-dimensional imprints on a three-dimensional field. These are related to visual paradoxes, which again go back a couple of thousand years to Greek mathematicians. It seems like there's a development going on and it's stretching the envelope.
And a people that couldn't be panicked, couldn't be beaten.
A final move. I am ordering the tunnel burned.
Since 1990 with crop circles. Local farms had had them before. In fact, a couple of weeks previously, our neighbouring farm had had a large circle. And I do remember commenting that
Elisha said, "Open the young man's eyes," in the Book of Kings. I wonder...
We know their ancient legends and their intimate secrets because someone wrote them
got
down.
Some scripture synchronicities.
It was something no one had ever done. In the Bible, it is called the birthplace of Abraham, the first of the Bible's patriarchs.
So on the side of... and we are willing to die for our land.
Bunny, I'm hopping around here. I'm a bunny, I'm a bunny. So they're running around with the morning skunky.
But not one single Nazi soldier set foot on British soil.
Battles over Aberwyvern, but in the years that followed, families began to take up residence outside the town wall.
signs of And they not only took the signs down, but they actually took the fence down that the sign was on. And we had thousands of people milling over our land. And
First human visitors. From here, they spread out southwards and to east and west to become the indigenous peoples of the Americas.
He's looking, look out. Oh, Aikman goes down. He had a man wide open. What was he thinking?
When we hit $50 million for the first time, we had a huge party in the warehouse. When we hit $100 million, we had a big party in the manufacturing building. And we just want to make sure that all of our people have the chance to celebrate it every chance.
132,000 specimens. He made his first trip to the Tepuis during World War II, looking for quinine to treat soldiers suffering from malaria.
Elated, that's all I can say. Just quite elated and quite peaceful, and it was just, it was a sacred experience.
Christian community, and if there's a message that they want to tell us, I'm ready to listen.
I think we're blessed. I just think we're blessed to have these here.
Photography. Flash shots.
Nor the need. Wales was successfully, though reluctantly, brought under English rule, and the next steps had to be economic and social rather than military.
And so the king went to his grave, accompanied by all his retainers.
I find it quite incredible that the media picked up on Doug and Dave's story and without any evidence of any kind from Doug and Dave, trumpeted the story around the world.
The subject lost credibility, and the media really dropped the subject and said, well, there's nothing in the subject at all made by people. And ever since, it's had a hard time to really claw back the credibility it lost.
So Edward's castles were abandoned and ignored, except by local builders who used them as quarries for stone.
Oh, Grandpa smokes too.
Have you ever seen the practice ones, or are you telling me that year in, year out, massive...
Yet it is all...
his evangelical lamp on the rock right now. But it was the 9th century that brought the first real step in preparing Scotland for the glory that awaited it 7 centuries later.
This crop circle, called the Catherine Wheel, is 780 feet in diameter and is composed of 409 circles. It occurred on the top of a mesa on a windy and rainy night. If anything,
that castles symbolize a long-standing and less flattering human trait, man's apparent...
The struggle for Scotland's political independence in the 14th century was a necessary preliminary to its struggle for religious reformation in the 16th.
In comparison to the surrounding desert, it would certainly have seemed so. There was so much water here that what is now a desert island bloomed. It was a garden bearing lush fruit.
round, official. Would you like to have been the editor of the newspaper who published the headline, "Heavy
Hailed cavalry and fearsome bowmen falling back before the Scottish broadswords and battle axes. All Scotland with the blood of its nationality and sovereignty.
I think that the idea that we're dealing with some kind of otherness, some kind of other intelligence that is not human, is a huge question, and I think it's a lot for people to contemplate. And I think we live in a world where, you know, answers are very easy. It's comfortable for us to live in a world where we have all the answers. And suddenly the crop circles come along, and it's like they punch a hole in our reality.
A tremendous debt. It was John Knox who gave a new dignity, not only to the nation of Scotland, but to the people of Scotland. And he did it because he was convinced that the whole picture is to see the people that God raised up to be reformers. There are three men in particular who played an important part in the story of the Scottish Reformation. Patrick Hamilton, who was a young man and George Wishart was to be the man who was to influence the third man in the trio, and that was John Knox. For it was through the friendship, the preaching and the teaching of George Wishart that John Knox was brought to an understanding of the Reformed faith.
Patrick Hamilton, one of the...
Kind of been a love-hate relationship. People love the freedom, they love the opportunity, but they also get very frustrated by others within the organization who take advantage of that. And so part of our job is to recognize that every person in this company is part of it. And while...
And some houses are seriously damaged. 3 people die of heart attacks. According to thousands of witnesses, one of the flying objects remained completely stationary throughout the shooting. It was inconceivable that it could have survived the many direct hits it must have received. After the attack, it flew slowly away and disappeared.
Everything here is built of wood, carved and painted in a celebration of local crafts. We've time for a little shopping.
All right, that concludes this video jam. It was a fun one. Lots of cool stuff, interacting with each other, and had some people watching, and the glare is starting to go down a little bit. I can see what I'm doing a little bit now. Yeah, not much else to say other than join me for the next show at 8 p.m. It'll be a little darker and you can see all the TVs a little easier, but for the ones who did watch, thanks for watching. And yeah, we'll be back for another one at 8 p.m. We will end it on some static.